Alrighty guys, hey, welcome back to another video on the Nike Sims channel. Week 2 of the NFL season is in the books here, and if you're new to the channel, well, this has mostly been gaming, but now that it's football season, I'd figure, hey, why not talk about something else I love, which is the NFL, and of course, fantasy football. So during this series, we're going to do the fantasy football recaps for every week. This week, obviously, week 2. And we're just going to kind of dive in, take a look at how the players on my teams played. I got a good mix of, a bunch of different players. And also kind of touch on some of the fun stuff that happened throughout the week. So go ahead and kick back and relax. Hopefully everybody's having fun playing fantasy football. I know that I am. I know some of my friends aren't. But hopefully you're somebody that is. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, so for those of you who don't know or didn't watch the first video, just a quick recap. So I'm in 4 leagues, all right? So just a quick breakdown of those 4 leagues. The first one's going to be the main league, man. We're going on 13 years, I believe. Me and the good homies from way back in the day. Most of us have been consistently in the league for, the whole time. There's been a few dropouts here and there. I fell out of the league. Maybe one day we'll talk about that. But we're all back in year 13. So that's the main league. The second league is going to be the work league. First year of that, got a bunch of friends from work. They were like, hey, we should do a fantasy football league this year. And I was like, dude, screw it. Let's do it. I love fantasy football. The more, the better. Well, actually, you're going to definitely have too much fantasy football. I'm pretty much at the cap at 4 leagues. But so that's a fun one. Good mix of new veteran players. We're all getting in the mix. That's a 10 team. The third is going to be the random league. So that's just another 10-man league. I pretty much only know one person in it. I'm the random, but I'm the reigning champ. So I got to hold strong as the rando and continue to assert my dominance. And then the fourth and final league is the shit show. And the shit show speaks for itself. So when we get there, you'll see why it's the shit show. So why don't we go ahead and just dive on in. Let me switch over the screen here. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and start with the main league here. So this is week 2. And after watching the first video, I realized I was way too zoomed out. So I've got it all zoomed in here. Hopefully it's looking good. But yeah, so week 2 of the main league, I went up against the homie Steve here. A 1-0 versus 1-0 bout. And unfortunately, I did lose. You hate to lose, but that's going to happen in fantasy football. It actually came all the way down to the first Monday night game. I was only up by, I think it was, let me look at the scores here. I was up by about, call it 22 points, something like that. And he had Nico Collins and Emeka Abuka going into Monday night. And yeah, both those guys ended up putting up decent performances, and I ultimately lost. But overall, let's just kind of go through it. I'm giving you fits here on the left. My team's all right. We got Kyler at the QB position. Honestly, a weak spot of the team. I drafted, late quarterback. Didn't work out. Dropped Dak Prescott for Kyler. Obviously, Dak pops off. That's just fantasy football for you. Got Bijan, Travis Etienne. Oh, so you might realize Travis Etienne wasn't on the team last week. Traded Terry McLaurin for Travis Etienne. And so far, I am not hating that trade. It was definitely a risky one, but I felt like I needed the running back depth. And I thought I had some good wide receivers. So far, so good. I mean, he put me in a position to win more than Terry did. So we'll see how that goes. Zay Flowers still looking like a great player. We'll take that. Calvin Ridley. Not really digging the Calvin Ridley draft pick so far. I thought there would be a little bit more coming out of Tennessee with him and the rookie Cam Ward. But he's probably going to be hitting the bench this coming week. Juwan Johnson, dude. Picked him up off the waiver wires. So I was doing some snap count percentages because I'm kind of a freaking nerd, and I saw that Juwan Johnson was on the field 99% of the snaps, and I have Evan Ingram, and I was like, let's go with Juwan. He ended up scoring a touchdown. It was a great play. Drake London is in the doghouse for me. I'm not very thrilled with that performance. 5.9 from Drake London. I just needed him. I lost by 3 points. I needed that guy to just catch like 2 more passes, and I would have won. But unfortunately, the Falcons were just dominating that game. They were running the shit out of the ball with Bijan. And of course, Algier on my bench scored a touchdown. I'm not going to be playing Algier unless Bijan gets hurt. Going to have to live with those touchdowns. So that's disappointing from Drake London. He's not leaving the lineup, though. I can't bench him, so he's staying in there. And then we got David Montgomery as my second flex. Honestly, the ideal second flex. He's just going to go in there. He's going to get, 50 yards, maybe a touchdown, couple of catches. It's a good split with him and Gibbs. Obviously, Gibbs is a lot more explosive, but David Montgomery is a fine player, and I am totally okay with him being my RB3, which is, a good spot. Colts defense, picked him up streaming. I figured, they looked pretty good against Miami. 1 point. That hurts. And then Jake Bates, the kicker. And just real quickly on the bench, I got Bill. Austin Eckler is going to be out for the year with a torn Achilles. Maybe Bill carves out a nice role. I'm still going to just keep him on the bench for now and just see what happens. And then Darnell Mooney, Joe Mixon, Tyler Ezier, Evan Ingram. So really what I want to talk about on the bench is Wan'Dale Robinson. Now, this guy's been a PPR terrorist. That's what we call him in our league. He just catches like 3-yard slants, 2-yard screens, and he just catches all these balls. He's getting points after points, but he actually was a deep threat with Russell Wilson. That game was insane. So I think what I'm going to do is bench Calvin Ridley and plug in Wan'Dale, and my lineup will be looking pretty set for next week. And yeah, I think this team is pretty good. I think overall a better team than I've had in years past in the main league. So I'm happy to see that. Now let's give a little bit of credit to Steve here. He did beat me, Lamar Jackson, Devon Achane, during the 1 o'clock slate. By the way, holy smokes, red zone watchers during the 1 o'clock slates were spoiled. Those games were freaking awesome, man. You gotta love football. And then of course, we got Nico and Emeka Egbuka kind of coming in clutch for him. He had -4 from Dallas. You hate to lose to somebody who puts up -4 on the defense. But overall, his dogs came to play. And one of my dogs, Drake London, did not. If he did, I probably would have squeaked out the dub. But nonetheless, we move on. And overall, I'm pretty happy with my team. Like I said, I'm pretty confident in next week. And yeah, I think that about sums up the main league week 2. We took the loss. We're 1-1, but it's a good 1-1. I've definitely been in worse spots to start the year. Historically, my buddies would let you know that I suck in this league, but I'm feeling like we're turning a new leaf, as they would say. I think that's the saying. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next one here. We're going to go over to the work league here on Sleeper. Again, let me know what you think looks best in terms of the platforms. I have ESPN, NFL Network, and Sleeper. Let me know which ones you think look the best. I like Sleeper. My league mates in the main league hate it, so they're refusing to go to it, but whatever. Let's go over the work league here. So I'm Jim Finance here, went up against the process, my buddy June, and it was actually a pretty close game going into Monday night. Going into Monday night, I think I was up by 40. It was like 40 points, and he had Bucky. Let's go ahead and just go through this. So he had Bucky, Irving, and who else did he have? He had Amarion Hampton in the flex. Actually, maybe zoom out a little bit on this one. I want to see a little bit more. Yeah, he had Amarion Hampton and Bucky going in, and he needed like 50 points. I definitely didn't, I wasn't in the clear. I had to stay up. Bucky was kind of chipping away at some points. He's awesome. But ultimately, I was just too much of a gap for him to overcome. My team popped off, as you can see, 150 to 128. Jim Finance looking like a good team. So just, quick recap of my team, obviously. Josh Allen, 11 points. They really didn't need him to air out the ball. It was James Cook all day. The Jets suck. What's new? So putting up 150 with Josh Allen, one of my dogs, putting up 11 points. I feel really good about that. Obviously, I got Jahmyr Gibbs, was just talking about him. He's awesome. Travis Etienne, I had him on my bench last week in this league. Decided to throw him in there because he looked good. And I'll be damned, 16 points. We'll take it. Malik Neighbors. Now that Cowboys-Giants game, man, that was insane. I was just talking about Wan'Dale Robinson. Yeah, well, Malik Neighbors came up big. 9 catches, 167 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Dude, this guy's a beast. This guy's so good. Tedero McMillan, 16 points from the rookie with Bryce Young. Shit, we'll take that. DJ Moore, this is a guy that I am not too thrilled about right now. I mean, he's my wide receiver 3. It's a 3 wide receiver lineup. So 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex. I kind of wish it was 2 flexes because I'm stuck at the wide receiver 3 spot with DJ Moore. But, I guess you could do worse, but I'm not really too thrilled with that. Trey McBride, pretty good tight end, 13.8 from your tight end. I'm not going to scoff at that. Ricky Pearsall, this was tricky because if we just scoot down a little bit over to my bench here, I had Kenneth Walker, and I believe, yeah, Aaron Jones, who I just moved to IR actually, were on the bench, and I went with Pearsall. I am definitely going to be plugging in Kenneth Walker or Jordan Mason, which, if you remember last week, I mentioned that I had Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones, along with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, and I basically said, I'm just going to plug one in when one of those guys gets hurt. Do a little flashback. And big takeaways from this team. Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet, and Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. I got like all 4 of those guys, and I'm probably just going to bench them all until one of them gets hurt. And then I'm like, yeah, you're the guy. Go ahead and get on in there, and I'll play ETN in the meantime. Luckily, I got some good value there. So, yep. So you saw the flashback. I just edited that in. And now's the time. Aaron Jones is on IR, so Jordan Mason is going to be a plug in and play. The only problem is I've got no space for all these guys. So Ricky Pearsall's got to hit the bench. So I'm going to plug in Jordan Mason, but then that leaves no spot for Kenneth Walker. So ideally, I think I'd like to maybe conduct some sort of trade like Kenneth Walker and DJ Moore for somebody. I'm going to have to shop that around. But either way, my team's looking really, really good. Jordan Addison coming back from suspension in a couple games will only help me out. Ooh, maybe I won't do the trade because I got Jordan Addison who I can plug in over DJ Moore. So maybe talking out loud. Oh, one of my cats just took a dump in here. Dude, these guys. Oh. Oh, man, he's throwing off my vibe, dude. Oh. Oh, my. All right, hold on. I gotta fix this. Man, that's a terrible time for my cat to just take a dump in here. Sheesh. Well, anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, so this team's looking pretty good. I'll probably just wait it out and plug in Jordan Addison into the flex spot. And then, kicker, defense, it is what it is. San Francisco defense against New Orleans. That was a pretty obvious pickup. And let's give a little bit of credit to June. He made it a good game. Justin Fields, he had 1 completion go in the first half or something crazy like that I read. So he stinks. I'm kind of a certified Fields hater. I don't think he's good. 3 out of 11 for 27 yards. This guy sucks. And then he had Bucky. Obviously, his real studs were CeeDee Lamb. That game was crazy again. Devontae Adams. J-Mo had a big catch as well. But overall, my team was just a little bit too good. And we're looking to keep the streak alive to go 3-0 in the work league. All right. What's next? Let's go to the Random League. So this is on NFL Network. The Random League here. Unfortunately, I hate this layout. I think this is probably the worst one. I got my ass whooped in the work league. I am on the left here. Oh, here we go. Beantown Bullies versus the New Yorkers. Oh, this was a Boston versus New York battle. New York got the better. 81-136. This game was over. Really, after the 1 o'clock games, it wasn't even close. Which is really disappointing because I felt like I had a really strong team going into the week. I got Baker at QB. He did fine. 19 points. We take that. Saquon, 16. Ideally, that's a 20, 25-point dog. The Eagles offense just looks a little mundane. And speaking of the Eagles offense, I've got A.J. Brown. He has been an absolute freaking just dead weight on my team. I'm going to keep playing him because he's A.J. Brown. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know if he's just not getting open. I don't know what's going on with it, but I'm going to keep plugging him in because he's a great player. I have faith in him. Kyren Williams, 9 points. Definitely disappointing from the RB2 slot. Marvin Harrison, 3.7 points. Breece Hall, 4.8. I mean, look, do I have to say more? My team absolutely shit the bed. Emeka Egbuka, again, I had him on my team here. He got a touchdown. My kicker got 1 point. Rams defense, 11 points. But overall, I just couldn't really do anything against Jared Goff. 5 passing touchdowns. Oh, my goodness. And then he had Kamara, Jacobs, 2 good running backs. Roma Dunze popping off, looking like a breakout contender. Not looking good for my DJ Moore stock in the other league. And yeah, Seahawks defense went off against Pittsburgh. So would I do anything different in this league? No, probably not. Just like I said last week, I think I have my starting lineup set. I am looking to maybe trade, Emeka and like Bill maybe down here. Bill Krosky-Merritt on the bench, Emeka and somebody for a wide receiver. But honestly, I think I'm just going to keep this team in. I got a bunch of players that I think are good, but obviously I I think we witnessed this team's floor this past week, putting up 81 points after being so confident in it last week. Definitely just feels bad. So 1-1 on this league. We're going to go ahead and try to get another one next week. And, we'll kind of just see how it goes. Maybe I make some moves. Maybe I make some trades. I don't know. I just got to keep my head up and keep on going strong. So, Beantown Bullies, better luck next week. Now, last but not least, we've got the shit show, everybody's favorite league. So, the shit show. If you didn't watch last week's video, the shit show is something special. So, this is the shit show. Now, as you can see, this might look a little bit different than your average fantasy football lineup. And if you're keen to what you are looking at, yes, you will see defensive players, head coaches, kickers, punters, etc. on there, which is pretty crazy. It makes for very interesting football watching experiences. Now, I was playing against my good friend Andy, and I ended up pulling out the dub, 213 to 203. And it looked like I was going to lose for a while because, look at my team. I got Tyrone Tracy and Dare Agumbawale for my running backs. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, 39 points. Jaden Daniels, 19. Tyreek Hill kind of showed up. Kayshon Boutte scored a touchdown. But the real studs came in from my defense. I got Milton Williams, 20 points. I think he had the game-winning sack, I believe, against Miami. I was watching that game. He was wreaking havoc. You love to see that I'm a Patriots fan. Super Bowl champion Milton Williams getting a big contract, coming in and making an impact. That's big. Danielle Hunter on Monday night pretty much got me the win with the strip sack fumble on Baker Mayfield when he was moving out of the pocket. Baker fumbled. It was all Danielle Hunter behind him. That was a 12-point swing. Gave me the lead. Frankie Luvu, dude. Frankie Poo-Poo is what I was calling him. He's about to get dropped. 2 points from your linebacker. Your linebacker, if you look, should be scoring at least 15 points. Like, look at Henry To'o scored 21. I mean, that's what you need. Carlton Davis got hurt, which now that I'm talking out loud, I probably need to pick up a cornerback. Kyle Hamilton, I mean, he's got 11 points there. Derek Stingley, 11 points. That's fine. Kicker, punter. Punter. You get points for like kicks inside the 20. I guess Riley Dixon didn't really have a chance to do that too much on Monday night. And then the 49ers head coach, pretty much if you get the win, you get 7 points. If you lose, like the Bears head coach over here, they got 0. So yeah, pretty exciting game. Andy over here had a pretty good team. Obviously, he made it really tough, brought it all the way to the end. Javonte Williams has been a pretty interesting surprise this year. I have tried the Javonte Williams experiment multiple years in a row, hoping he'd be good. And of course, the 1 year that I said, nope, I want nothing to do with that guy, he's going off. So, good for him. But, that is what it is. Devontae Adams is pretty good. Zach Ertz, 18 points. He's actually looking like a pretty solid tight end. So if you're watching this and you're in a tight end hole, look for Zach Ertz on your waiver. I would recommend that. I'm no fantasy expert, but you could do worse than Zach Ertz right now. And then, he had Brian Robinson Jr. at the flex. That's gross. And let's see, his defensive players, I don't really know any of these guys. I know L'Jarius Sneed, Bradley Chubb, Zach Sealer. Yeah, it is what it is. Now, in regards to what I could have done better, Wandale again on my bench. I think I'm just gonna plug him into the flex over Kayshon Boutte. I also got Cooper Kupp, but honestly, Wandale just catches so many passes. I'm probably gonna slide him in there. So, yeah, overall, last week, Shit Show Simi kind of got their shit kicked in. But this week they came back, bounced back. I mean, I won with playing Dare Agumbawale as my RB2, so that's a win in my book. So definitely would, I wouldn't really change anything up. Did a great job. I'm pretty happy. Overall, very, very fun weekend in the NFL. Again, we got spoiled with some great games during the 1 o'clock games. The 4 p.m. games on Sunday kind of sucked. Sunday Night Football kind of sucked. The first Monday night game was okay if you like defensive football. That was a fun watch. And then I didn't even watch the 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time kickoff for the Raiders Chargers. That's ridiculous, man. Like, come on, dude. 10 p.m.? I got a bone to pick with the NFL for setting that up. So overall, I hope everybody who is watching this is having fun. Let's go ahead and pop on back over here. Yep. Let's play the music. Play the music. There it is. So yeah, I hope you're having fun playing fantasy football this season. I know so far I am. You know, my teams don't all suck. I think I'm 1-1 in every league except for the work league. I am 2-0, so not a bad start. We're gonna keep the gravy train rolling. Hopefully keep making some good roster moves. Don't forget to check out waivers, guys. You got to be active out there. You don't win your leagues at the draft. That's what they say. You got to be active, you know. So watch out, you know, players getting hurt. Go make trades, pick up people off the waivers. Stay proactive. Don't give up. It's a long season. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. I appreciate you watching. Consider liking, subscribing, comment who you got on your fantasy team. Let me know. I'm curious to hear. And yeah, I hope you have a great day. Take it easy.